Hi there, friends. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Pegasus Industries has been working on expanding our network of resources and production of manufactured goods, and today we'll be touring my support outpost on H55-VA1. As you can see, I'm no longer running in my Guardian. While exploring, I happened across a derelict renegade that had been drifting for a while, all of its crew deceased. I repaired and reclaimed it and made some updates. There was a small side quest on a data slate in it to deliver a crewmate's belongings to their family in Aquila City, and after doing that, I met up with Constellation and helped Sarah track down Barrett. So at this outpost, we extract and produce a couple of resources necessary for my industrial activities, and again I've played around with building techniques. This time I focused more on the storage containers, adding them to the large landing pad, and making foundation stacks to support habs, a bay for my fabricator, and an open garage. You might have noticed that there are two different biomes here. We're set up right on a boundary zone, so I'm able to extract resources that are exclusive to each within the one outpost. This moon is tidal locked, so Heisenberg 5 is just always right there in the sky. Between that and the blend of foliage, I was charmed by this location and really happy the resources I needed were here. This is the garage. Sometimes those trees beside the ramp spawn in, and other times they don't. They did this time, but I don't mind either way. I do like the mossy texture that's transferred up onto the floor in here. It kind of gives it a weathered, aged look, like it's been here a while and it's all settled in. Next up is the meeting hall, kind of self-explanatory. This small animal husbandry building is modded because the base game's buildings can't be put on planets that don't have domesticable fauna, like this one. I have 3 crew assigned to this outpost right now. Lynn manages the extractors, Simon is in charge of security, and Rosie runs the greenhouses and the med facility. Since I don't have to worry about any fauna, I spread things out a bit here. But we have had a raiding party attempt an attack, so it seemed prudent to have dedicated security to keep my people safe. Because this outpost is a bit hilly, I put the Watchtower on the high ground and tried to make sure it has good sight lines between all of the structures down below. I kept the space up here pretty sparse. I didn't want clutter getting in the way of Simon's lookout duties. There is a weapon tool bench and a cot for naps, some consoles for scanning and security monitoring. Attached to the Watchtower is a shooting range for an extra bit of immersion. It took me a little while to figure out how to snap these catwalk pieces together, and that nice mossy texture showed up again on them, and even on a couple of the mats too. The rifle there has a pretty good set of legendary traits. It has Furious, Concussive, and Incendiary, but I've found that ballistic rifles aren't as effective as energy rifles for me. I keep it here in case I change my mind and want to use it at some point. This other small husbandry building is Lynn's. I've been wanting to use these for living quarters for a while, but just got round to it here. In real life, I'm fascinated by tiny houses and how they incorporate functional storage to maximize efficient use of space. They were my inspiration to make these benches into a storage staircase up to the lofted sleeping area. Like at my headquarters outpost, I made a break room for my freighters. It has vending machines, board game, and exercise equipment. The gravity here is less than 1G, so strength training is especially important. Here we have Rosie's domain, the medical facility. I'm working on expanding my outpost network to obtain medical aid resources so that we can craft large batches of aid items here. Those resources will be stored in the containers under this structure. Then while I'm out exploring and surveying, I'll have high-value items I can trade at outposts, since this character doesn't loot for sellable items and rarely needs to scavenge now that I have a regular ship. The facility is an all-in-one with Rosie's living space above the workspace. First is the medical care office. It's small because I don't expect she'll be having many visitors to take care of. There's a lab here in the back room with some hydroponics set up for fresh produce. Just up the stairs is Rosie's bedroom with ensuite bathroom. Rosie also has a cozy little open kitchen, dining, sitting room in this hydroponic hab. Most of the time I do try to give my outpost crew separate personal spaces for a couple reasons. For one thing, I'd want that as a courtesy for myself and for others. And for another, there's plenty of room for separate living quarters here. And I really enjoy adding these immersive details. It really enhances the game for me. Next, we'll be taking a look at the container bay and the main office. This open bay was the first thing I built at this outpost. Curiosity drove the design here. I just wondered if it would work the way I thought it should, based on my previous build projects, and indeed it did. So I made the bay and then put some habs on top of it, and I have a dedicated flow of aluminum and iron to the fabricator, making adaptive frames. Here's the main office with Lynn's desk and a production monitoring station, as well as some refreshments. Through the hallway is a workshop with a couple of crafting stations, a restroom, and a long workbench cabinet. I cluttered it up a bit in here, just trying to make it look like a spot that sees a lot of use. I put a small balcony out here, mainly as a lookout. It has a different vantage to see past the landing pad. I've yet to have an outpost attacked more than once, but now that this one is occupied, I'm just being extra cautious. From here, we'll head down to the last structure, which has another workshop and Simon's quarters. This first tab is odds and ends storage, attached to the Spacesuit workshop. Simon was a weapons tester for Mast before this, but I could see him having a spacesuit tinkering hobby. Since they're required for this planet, I also thought it was a good idea to have spares and a way to repair them. Simon's quarters are in the back. I fitted up a double square hab for him. Living areas are below, bed and bath above. I went with a more rustic style here, thought it fit his personality well, just very low maintenance. I enjoy him as a companion. In my last universe with this character, which I'm in New Game 1 now, I had Simon and Rosie at the same outpost and found them hanging out together a couple different times as I was passing through randomly. So I totally ship them, and in this character's game, I will always assign them to the same outposts in every universe, probably forever. We'll head back out for one last flyover of Industrial Post H55-VA1. If you were wondering about that designation, it's just a code I made up using the star system name and level, followed by the planetary location and the outpost number. I want to thank you for taking the tour. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth look at one of Pegasus Industries' support outposts. I really appreciate you all being here. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or comments. For now, it's time for me to head back into the Starfield. Catch a smile out there.